Hello, I'm going to talk about the final project. So I'll share screen with the instructions. So this assignment is aimed at helping you to choose 5 key takeaways from this class. So things that you have learned, and it could be just one small idea or a big connection between many ideas. Each takeaway can be its own thing, and it's up to you what those takeaways are. The format will be a PowerPoint slide or Google Slides, or if you prefer to use Canva or some kind of platform like that, that's also fine. Just please, when you submit the slides to eLearn, make it be either a PDF file or a PowerPoint file. Uh, so in terms of the grading, uh, 50 points for clearly identifying 5 takeaways, so like 5 different slides, or if a takeaway has more than one slide, that's great too. If you go into more detail explaining that takeaway, that's great. But 5 distinct takeaways, I think some of the examples that I've written down could be like, oh, I learned that like for example, from chapter 10, uh, reading the individualized society, it's about education, higher education. And maybe one takeaway you could have from that is that, oh, higher education really doesn't prepare people as much with these specific concrete skills anymore, but it really teaches students to learn how to learn and how to be adaptable in an increasingly unpredictable world, according to Bauman's theory. And you could say, yeah, that's a takeaway that I agree with, or you could disagree with one of the authors. You could make the argument that, oh, I disagree with Jane Addams that living in community with a bunch of other people is an ethical way of being because there's just too much disagreement from my own experience, or you could say something like that. It's up to you if you agree or disagree with the theorists, and it can be from Adams, Bauman, or any of the other theorists that we have talked about in the mini lectures and slides. Uh, so 50 points for clearly identifying 5 key takeaways. And then for each takeaway, also, there's a lot of points as you see here at the bottom, and I've color coded it. I'm sorry if you're colorblind, but hopefully there's still slight distinction. Uh, 50 points for connecting each takeaway to your life or your worldview. So this could be your past, your present, or your future in your life. Um, or it could be just your opinions and your personal philosophy, your morals, ethics, and worldviews. Uh, so for example, if one of your takeaways is from my higher education journey, I want to become more adaptable and more ready for a changing work environment. And that's a takeaway from Zygmunt Bauman's chapter 10. And it connects to my life because I understand from my own experience through work that jobs change, and um, I'm going to be put into a lot of new situations in my career. So saying stuff like that, of course, you'd probably be writing in words or bullet points on the slides. Uh, that's good for connecting it to your life. And then another thing you should do for each takeaway is related to class content. So in that example, it related to chapter 10 from the individualized society. And lastly, each takeaway should have some kind of explanation why. So it's not just here's my takeaway, but I believe this because, and just explain a little bit. Tell us your thinking. Share us why you have that takeaway instead of some other takeaway. Um, so those are the 3 key components for each takeaway in these slides. And then the last part of the rubric is just kind of like, how, presentation, visuals, how does it look? Uh, Make sure it looks like you're putting a good effort into it. And feel free to use your own original photos or photos from the internet, or just kind of like emojis or any kind of visual that can help make the slides look like a, a good effort. Then that's great. And also, yeah, charts or data or anything that's valid to include too. That's great. There is on the Google form this week also a couple questions asking people if they're interested in actually presenting their slides in an optional Zoom. I'd be glad to have a Zoom where people could share their takeaways, and that would be really awesome. But of course, I can't force anyone to show up to a Zoom in an asynchronous class. Um, and yeah, please let me know if you have any additional questions about this assignment. Hopefully your takeaways, again, like this green category, they're useful to your life, hopefully, and you're able to connect the content from this class to things that you do care about. Thank you for watching this and have a fun time working on this assignment.